So,
to the side of the flag.
so this castle represents
Like a
a
lion.
lion.
Yeah, Lion of Judah, like a lion, you know. From the
Almost
ground
reminds
is
you of
very
the
wider.
Sphinx.
When we go up and higher, it becomes more narrower and narrower. They call it asymmetrical, non-symmetric, the type of architecture at that time. They have an equal side, each have the same size. There is St. Mary Church here. Let's come to here, about Second Palace. Okay, after the first king, the founder of Gondar, Emperor Fasilides, after he ruled 35 years, when he died at the age of 64, the first king. Then he succeeded by his son, and his son is named Emperor Johannes the first, and he came to the palace and they built the second, the smallest palace. This one having two-story palace, and the upper part served as a bedroom, but the ground for his library. He read different spiritual books, and he let them, the royal family, to read such books in here. He had a library and a chance. When we see his palace, it looks like a modern one, because that's the most destroyed castle by the Dervish war, by the British bombardment. Since that was the most destroyed castle. In 1970s, there was restoration campaign made by UNESCO. One Sandro Angeli from Italy and Claude from French. They came as an expert. They mixed cement with lime mortar and they plastered. That's why we call it today Yellow Palace or Plaster Palace. Before it was plastered, it was such part, and then plastered one. Emperor Johannes, he was a special king, not only in the history of Ethiopia, he may be the first king in the world. He's the one who didn't collect tax or tribute from his people. For his living, he made anjera basket, a kind of basket work. We make from basket, and where we put together and we put the injera, the sopanki on top of it. He make by his other king, you can imagine. And his soldiers, they took to the market and they said for the king. Most of the time he led a very simple life, a monastic life. Because of that, they called him the righteous or the very kind or a humble king. Even they called the unique in the small castle, castle of love, love castle. Because they lived harmoniously and peacefully, this king. So they didn't pay anything, they are free. He's so religious, he did much of his time, went to the monastery, worshipping and praying.
So Johannes lived here.
Yeah.
Theodros did not live here.
Theodros, he didn't live in this palace, yeah. Because he tried to make one big Ethiopia, so he fought different nobles in different times.
Okay.
So even he didn't get the chance, you know.
Johannes, there is second Johannes.
This is the first Johannes.
This is the first one.
Yeah, first Johannes. We have 4 Johannes. This is the first son of Emperor Fasilides.
Okay.
Yeah.
The second Johannes is considered to be the great.
No,
No, it is
another one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not very powerful one. We have also John Johannes the Third.
The one that
Yeah, one hand king.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, they amputated his hands because of some problem, and also because the other king they want to rule, so he make him like that.
Oh.
Because sometimes there is tricks between the kings also.
That's right.
So there is the fourth king Johannes. He the one who came after the days of Emperor Theodore II, and the one who make his palace in Mekelle. There is Abraham Castle. So the one who fought the Dervish, the Muslims, and he chased them away as far as Sweden, but he was wounded and he died and he succeeded by his son. From that time, no more Islam. Then after that, power was shifted to Addis because of Emperor Menelik II. From that time onward, Addis is the capital, everything.
Okay.
So he's so religious and is so religious. He had a very simple life, a modest life, Johannes. That's why he built the smallest palace. Actually, it's an office for him. We call it rather this time as a palace. Like Abraham, for living 175 years old, he said, I shouldn't build a house. So he just lived in a tent. That's why he built the smallest one, like Abraham. He got the money from his father, left over. not from his people. So religious king. That's why they call him Johannes. Even they call the love castle or temple of love, because they lived harmoniously and peacefully without any tension. A very religious king also, and also he's very humble, not only to human beings, he's so kind to animals. He was maybe he was the first animal rights activist in history. You know, in front of his palace, he had a bell. When people, when have something is unjust happen to them, they will come to the king to accuse, to forward, there, and then to have a solution from the king. One day, it was like a rainy night. There was a donkey. It's famous in Europe also. There is a black donkey history. So it was for a long time. We used that time. We don't have money currency that time as a transaction. We use like a bar of salt, different things as a barter for exchange of So it was carried for a long time. This a bar of salt we brought from the Danakil Depression, the lost point from Afar, close to the Red Sea. So since he carried a long time these things, his back is winded. He can't cope up the rain, so he want to hide himself. But as soon as when he passed, he rang the bell. A bell was rung that time. So the king, what kind of people are coming this time, this day, this time? He came up on his window. When you look at, he's not a man, he's a donkey. So he was hurt to felt, when he look at that. So he mixed it, he took to his other horses and he fed him. When he's getting better, when he's okay, he returned to his owner. So the next he proclaimed a declaration: don't carry like a wounded animal like a donkey that one. So you should think they're having a life. You should think them like, don't throw them as rubbish things. They gave you many services before when they are okay. Because of that, even a donkey, when the farmers, when they came from the countryside to sell the chicken to the cities and towns, they carry them like this. Half of them hanging down, the other on their back with there is a best friend of the country people. It's called a companion friend. There is a rod, like kind of stick. So you shouldn't carry like them, the chickens. You should carry them upright to the top, looking their God.
Wow.
So he's so kind, not only to animal. So that's why people, they consider the first animal right activist even.
That's right.
Yeah. He's so religious.
Wow.
He ruled 1515, and he built churches in the name of the first monk called Antony Church, and there is God the Father Church on the way to Barda. So religious, so ruled for 15 years. Imagine they went to the monastery worshiping and praying. That's why he built the smallest one. When we look this time, it's restored to his palace. Now we go to the royal archive here. Then after it built by the first king, but used by other kings who were ruled in this compound. Having two-story palace, and the upper part of it as a bedroom, as an office for the writer of the chroniclers, a writer of the Minister of Pain, at their office, secretariat. They wrote both things, secular and religious, and after written by them, they kept them in the ground floor. The ground floor we call documentation office. They put illuminated manuscript, parchment book, glory of the king, book of the king, the civil code, the penal, what we call this time. After written by, they kept them, and after that, they translated the Bible, Old Testament, New Testament, from Hebrew, Israel language, to the classical language, Giz language. Giz is confined in the church and the monastery, spoke by priests and monks. Not every person understood this classical celestial church language. Even we do the service a mass from each church, a monastery from this classical language. It's a Latin of Ethiopia. So they used to document paper. We call it in short paper castle, not modern paper parchment, which they made from goat skin, like a vellum one. So we have a grand castle, we have rainbow castle, we have a love castle, we have a paper castle. So let's see inside, and we go to the big castle.
Question: who did you say covered the brick on Johannes' castle?
Yeah, during the restoration time in 970, there was UNESCO.
UNESCO.
Yeah.
So what did you call it? What did they put on plaster?
That was good, but that was the most destroyed castle. If they didn't have that kind of restoration, we can see Johannes' palace, and we're gone,
I see.
Good.